LeBron is claiming he didn't know. I don't know that we believe him, but that's what that is what he's claiming.
I used to tell people I was 5'10". I mean, we lie. People lie. People lie about it. Here's something else I want to point out. This is like, you may remember this because you're very connected to the league and the Lakers, so remind me if you know. I had heard from multiple people a year or two ago, I just can't remember which one, that LeBron was sort of fed up with Anthony Davis. It was kind of over AD. You have to lie.
Right.
Not a criticism of LeBron. Power sometimes comes with the professional responsibility to withhold information. There's no chance on earth that LeBron didn't know in advance.
LeBron James exposed for being frustrated with Anthony Davis. Check out what this NBA insider had to say, and then I'll come back with my comments.
So Luka Doncic, who has been injured and is nearing a return, is going to be a Laker. And Anthony Davis, who's a remarkable basketball player, and I'm sure thought he was the long-term partner in crime, the Robin to the Batman of LeBron James, however long LeBron was going to play, is being shipped out to Dallas.
Yeah, and just signed an extension, by the way. AD just signed an extension with the Lakers recently, yeah.
It's very – I did a story the other day on De'Aaron Fox and how basically the sort of machinations of that and why you don't do no trade clauses, also involving Bradley Beal. And basically an agent said to me, everybody's trying to avoid being the next Blake Griffin, but it's why you don't give no trade clauses. In some ways, that is Anthony Davis today.
Yeah, that's the thing with these no trade clauses. You don't want that in a contract if you're that team. You want to make sure you have full flexibility to make a major splash like this. So I see why players don't get that no trade clause. It makes a lot of sense.
John Gonzalez's reaction, I think, is a reaction we all had. And this is for the record. His take is, his take. What the actual is happening? Okay. Fair reaction. Fair response. Here's what I'm being told. And credit where it's due. Producer Aaron speculated on this first, and then people sent notes. So here's what's going on. Luka Doncic is under contract this year, the remainder of next year. I believe, Aaron, player option in the summer of 26. Just correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, correct. He has one more year in the $43 million range next season, and then has a player option following that at, I believe, $47 million for the 26-27 season that he's clearly not going to pick up.
Right. League source of mine who had talked to me about the De'Aaron Fox situation. Not as big a deal, not as significant, but the same sort of political maneuverings here. And by the way, also Rich Paul as an agent who is the agent to Anthony Davis and the agent to LeBron James, hit me up and said, I have so many of these coming in, and said, this is just like De'Aaron Fox. It is an agent giving a team a heads up for different reasons, but giving a team a heads up. Look, we like you. This is a speculation. Luka likes you. Luka loved being a Maverick. He is going to be a Laker. He's not going to sign the Supermax. He's not going to be here for the long haul. Get the best return you can. It doesn't have to be now, is what was speculated by somebody that I think would know.
Yeah, that was pretty much the smoke signal. Let's go ahead and get rid of Luka. If you know he's not going to sign that Supermax $345 million contract, I don't know if they would have given it to him. But still, if he's saying he wants to leave, go ahead and get something from me now. You might as well make this major trade. And the Mavs and Lakers, they did what they had to do. Solid move overall, but right now I think the Mavs have an opportunity to win more than the Lakers, but long term, definitely a great option having Luka there for the next 10 years.
But he's going to go somewhere else. And so the Lakers were in the position that the Kings are currently in, which was, okay, we've got, the Mavericks are in the position. We've got to go out. We've got some runway. We have to get this done. And they have a backdoor channel, obviously, to Anthony Davis, because you don't want this to get out. This is in part, I'm told, Luka Doncic being honest. I'm going to be a Laker eventually, and I don't want to stay in Dallas, but trying to do it in a way that is conciliatory, as much as that can happen in a divorce. That is not an ultimatum. That is not Carmelo Anthony from several years ago and many other players saying, I want out, trade me now, get me the hell out of here. And some of that is because the leverage is a little bit different without the way the CBA works, and it's hard to move these deals, and it's just there isn't the same level of apron teams, right? Just the apron space you have limits the number of teams you want to go where you want to go. And obviously, you can reach out as a back channel to Rich Paul, who can maybe facilitate this on behalf of the Lakers side. He's a very savvy agent. So, Aaron, the speculation, and then I texted this to another source who would know, connected to one of the teams in this trade, and they wrote back exactly what happened. So what's going on here? And I'm curious your take, because my first reaction, look, this is a bad day for the Dallas Mavericks. Mavericks fans, this is a bad day for you. And John and I will dive into this tomorrow. There are interesting questions about the Lakers defense. There are interesting questions about, if how long does it take Luka and LeBron James to coalesce? LeBron, I covered this team. Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. It took them about 28 to 40 games to really get on the same page.
That's the thing with this trade. On face value, long term, of course, looks great for the Lakers. You got someone that's going to step in when LeBron retires, and you got your franchise player, if healthy, for the next 10 years. But how's it going to work with this pairing in the short term over the next 2 to 3 years? Two ball-dominant players. They both need the ball in their hands at all times to facilitate and score. Is Luka going to take a back seat for a year or two? Or is it time for LeBron James to take a back seat, allow Luka to initiate the offense, and LeBron's going to have to play better off the ball? Then you lost Max Christie as well. So your future Klay Thompson, in a way, he's gone with the Mavs. So again, right now, it looks like the Mavs won this trade in the short term. But I got hopes for the Lakers. Maybe in the next few years, once LeBron is gone, you got a lot of money on the books to where you can sign another player to that $200+ million contract. So the future is bright for the Lakers, but the present is much brighter for the Mavs right now to possibly win a championship with AD, Kyrie, and Klay Thompson.
Yeah, to this exact point, a lot of the problem at the beginning, I think in their first season, those Heat started 8-9, I believe, in their first 17 games.
They did. In fact, LeBron tried to get Eric Spoelstra fired.
Correct.
And Riley, his stubbornness then, I covered that team, yeah. So, look, there's no guarantee this is going to work for the Lakers now. It is a win for the Lakers today. If you want to do this in a vacuum, wherever you're watching, and thank you, by the way, please subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, and it sounds like there's a lot of you, thank you. Appreciate you hanging out late at night. It's really late on the East Coast. There's no guarantee it works for the Lakers immediately. Maybe they'll gel. Maybe they'll vibe. Maybe they'll find a rhythm very quickly. If they do, they're going to be really, really good. But this gives the Lakers, because LeBron thinks he has a window of another year or two. They, at a minimum, get to play together this year. LeBron, I'm told, did not think that they were a championship level team this season. So this is a chance to win now. And it also gives them the chance, Luka and LeBron, Luka's back soon, to play some games together over the course of this year. And if it doesn't quite click now, the expectation, and I think it's the right expectation from the Lakers, is it will work next year. From Dallas's perspective, in a vacuum, Aaron, I'm sure it's a disaster. It is but you have to understand the context.
Right.
If you're the Mavericks, right, and you are told, this is what I'm told happened. If you are told, look, and not as an ultimatum, he's made the decision. Luka wants to be a Laker. He's going to go somewhere else. Get a deal done. And I think more of these details will come out from other folks in other places. I don't know, Aaron. Even if you wait until the summer, are you getting – and Kyrie Irving's still under contract. They're hoping to do something now. When Kyrie sort of ages out of being impactful, they're going to have to sort of reinvent themselves around Anthony Davis. But it's a shitty day, excuse my language, CBS, for the Mavs. But I think it's as good a deal, isn't it, as you can get under these circumstances? Even if
it is the best deal under these circumstances, only because you pretty much knew you got a year window to make a major trade for Luka instead of him walking out the door and signing with the Lakers in 2026 or 2027. So again, shout out to Luka for being respectful in this divorce with the Mavs. We've seen with Jimmy Butler, been very disrespectful to the Miami Heat organization, paid him a lot of money, got him to the finals and gave him opportunities to win. And look how that divorce ended. Very messy. So say what you want to say about Luka, Rich Paul, Clutch Sports, the agents between the two. This was a solid divorce. This is the best case scenario for a team to where their all-star, superstar player wants a separation. You had to make this trade if you're the Mavs, and perfect opportunity to win now with AD.
If you waited the summer.
So that's fascinating, right? That's the fascinating part of it, because it obviously it has to be AD, right? Because of the salary restrictions. You've done a lot of reporting about how the new CBA and the first apron and second apron has been impacting the Jimmy Butler stuff, the Bradley Beal stuff, and et cetera.
That no trade clause from hell coming up the works for Jimmy Butler.
It really is.
So, I mean, I guess if he's going to go to the Lakers, it kind of has to be Anthony Davis, right? To get the salary matching to work, it's going to have to be Anthony Davis. The part that's confusing to me, and I've seen some reporting out there yet. I mean, all of this is kind of fluid, and everybody's kind of, yourself included, are kind of digging in and trying to figure out what's going on here. But from all indications, it is the Mavs that actually reached out to the Lakers.
Yeah, that's what I was told too.
Yeah. And maybe they had some frustrations with Luka.
Let me just jump in though, because yes, but as you know, Rich Paul is able, I'm sure the Mavs technically reached out, and maybe they just reached out, but there's a back channel there too that can kind of I am sure the Lakers were reached out to. That reporting looks pretty solid. But how do you vet LeBron first? Well, you have a shared agent. So I'm speculating, but I imagine Rich Paul was able to reach. I'm sure Rich Paul was able to basically tell the Mavericks, hey, LeBron's on. Right. Once LeBron's on board, it's already done. Even if Jeannie and Rob Pelinka don't know.
Of course.
Right?
Look, you covered LeBron. We're on the beat.
Yeah, it's obvious that LeBron James had to make sure this trade happened. They had to get his blessings in order for this to go through. So LeBron James, he may wave his hands up and be like, I had nothing to do with this. I had no idea. I was blindsided. But your agent is Rich Paul. You run Rich Paul and Clutch Sports behind the scenes. So, of course, AD, agent is Rich Paul. It's the perfect mix, the perfect combination to make a huge splash like this. So, regardless, the Lakers got Luka, Mavs got AD, and LeBron James, he knew what was going on. He's going to try to dispute it. Said some things about this reporter on X, Twitter. It's a effing lie, like he had nothing to do with it. Sure, LeBron, you had nothing to do with this trade.
For a while, part of the reason,
maybe
a lot of the reason why you're here talking to us now is LeBron is the rising tide that lifts all.
Yeah, it's true.
Both. No, and another person in that sphere is Dave McMiniman, who said on X recently that LeBron, and look, as well as anyone, LeBron is a master of creating narrative, shifting blame. LeBron is claiming he didn't know. I don't know that we believe him, but that's what that is what he's claiming.
I used to tell people I was 5'10". I mean, we lie. People lie. People lie about. Can I say this too, Aaron? Because this is interesting. Some of this is just me, just trying to say to Lakers fans, you owe me an apology, even though nobody cares. But I think it's interesting, and you may remember this because you're very connected to the league and the Lakers. So remind me if you know. I had heard from multiple people a year or two ago. I just can't remember which one. That LeBron was sort of fed up with Anthony Davis. It was kind of over AD. Mm-hmm. Now, the context of the multiple people I talked to was, look, don't go out there and say he wants him traded. Don't go out there and say he's good. It was just LeBron's fed up with him. It's something to keep an eye on. And LeBron, and this is not an insult, I can be this way, my wife can be this way, but LeBron can be moody. That is a thing that is sort of known about, like a lot of human beings. So sometimes when LeBron is down on somebody, maybe it passes. But the first thing I thought, Aaron, was, and I don't know if it was a year or two ago, is sort of saying on CBS Sports HQ, which is our live streaming network, I'm not saying he's going to be traded. Just keep an eye on this. This is something that I've heard. And that, I think, is clearly true. They're obviously not the best friends in the world. He wouldn't let them go if they were. But and there's no, look, if you're watching, this is not reported. I'm just telling you, somebody who's covered LeBron James. And as Aaron said, and I know LeBron and other people around him, wouldn't be here if I hadn't covered him starting back in 2010 with the Heat, moved to Miami for that. There is no chance on earth that LeBron didn't know in advance. And by the way, that's okay. I have a wife who Aaron used to manage 100 people, and the really horrible thing about it, sometimes you have to fire people in jobs like that. All managers, if you're watching, know this. You can't always tell the truth, right? You can't. Someone says, am I getting laid off on Thursday with the layoffs? You have to lie. Right. Not a criticism of LeBron. Power sometimes comes with the professional responsibility to withhold information, but there's no, I think I'm speculating now. I'm speculating other people around the NBA are speculating. I'm getting another one here. Yeah, this is speculation, but here's another one that basically is saying, this guy's watching, basically is saying, look, LeBron knew they had to have, of course, they're not going to reach out to Jeannie Buss or Rob Pelinka because they can get out. Right. And that's but Rich Paul is savvy. He is respected. He's cutthroat and all the good. He's an assassin, all the good ways. He's an assassin, and you can trust him to keep this. And what's interesting though is I wonder if Anthony Davis had a heads up.
At the end of the day, this is the benefit of having a Rich Paul as your representation. He pretty much knows all the NBA owners, knows the GMs, so he can facilitate this trade. So again, of course, LeBron James knew about this, but he doesn't want to say anything because it's going to make him look a certain way. It's going to make him look like a backstabber. You traded your best friend AD for Luka Doncic because you got frustrated with AD. Yeah, so if I were LeBron, I would be frustrated at AD too. He gets injured so much throughout the course of their time together in LA. Still won a championship, a great player, but you had to make this move if you were LeBron, and you had to know about this move if you were LeBron. Rich Paul, again, you run him. You know what's going on with him. He's going to let you know way before this trade ever happened that you're going to try to shop AD. And AD, I believe he was blindsided by this. But at the end of the day, LeBron, he got to do what he got to do. And AD, you were that sacrifice.
This is the thing about being rep by Rich, and Rich is amazing. LeBron's always going to come first.
Yeah,
right?
so there's so much here, and we can take a break in a second because I think we need to get into the Dallas side of this.
Yeah, let's do it.
But yeah, to your point earlier, and then I wanted to respond to something you said earlier. But to the last point that you just made about the relationship between LeBron and AD, I'm around the Lakers a lot, and it was well known a couple years ago, as you mentioned, that LeBron was frustrated with AD, and that stemmed from LeBron questioning AD's commitment upon returning after the Lakers won the championship.
That's right.
And the work that AD was putting in to be ready to start seasons, the next couple seasons.
That's right.
It reached a head 2 years ago, as you mentioned. But the fascinating part about this, and we can go to break after this, but the fascinating part about this, if that was LeBron's primary concern with AD, who is he getting now, right? He is getting somebody that, if you believe the reports, and if you believe some of the talk coming out of Dallas, maybe part of their frustration with Luka was his lack of commitment to conditioning.
I will this. That is a totally legitimate complaint and critic. You know what? Can we break and pick this up on their side? Because I have a thought on this.
Absolutely, let's do it.
We're gonna get into the sort of, let's just say what it is. Luka's too fat or Luka's not in shape criticism. And I think there's that's interesting, Aaron. I had not heard that. I have not seen that. Obviously, I've been working and trying to text people about Luka and the Mavs being a little put out with his conditioning. Can I give you my first two reactions? These are reactions. This isn't reporting.
Please. Yeah, please.
First reaction is that is some bullshit. I got to stop swearing to CBS. I'm sorry, CBS.
I mean, we've cracked the seal at this point, so go for it.
You have to manage this, right? You have to This is a generational talent walking out the door. Whatever the context I gave you earlier is right. I think that Luka basically presented, I'm going to leave and get the best deal he can. In that context, not pretty good job, but I think that's number one. This is some, I don't buy it. Two is, conditioning matters. There are just a few athletes, and there aren't many. There are a few athletes just on the face of the earth who, I don't know, you're drinking beer and you're eating burgers as you're conditioning. Nikola Jokic, who cares? Great. Do you go to be the guy from the bowling league? Luka's the same thing for me, Aaron.
It's reasonable. Yeah.
He's generational.
So I will say this, though. He was thought of as a guy that wasn't in great shape when he came to the league, but I just saw something on social media in the last day or two that was showing highlights of his rookie year, and he is legitimately probably 40 pounds lighter. And for somebody, it doesn't matter how good he is, right? Because he's still the third or fourth best player in the NBA.
Luka's been having some weight issues up and down from the course of his career. Some summers he'll come back looking fit. Other times, throughout the season, he'll add that weight back on. But when you have a generational talent like Luka, you're not worried about his weight just because he's a gamer. He can play long minutes in the game, even if he's 30 or 40 pounds over the weight that they want him to be. You put Luka Doncic in the game, he's going to ball out. He's not going to be huffing and puffing. He can play 40-plus minutes. He can play with the best of them. So I think it was more than the weight issues with Luka. He just wanted out. He wanted to go to L.A., and they made his wish come true. Perfect opportunity. Get rid of him early, and, it is what it is, and let the chips fall where they may. But overall, long-term, the Lakers, they won this trade. Short-term, the Mavs won this trade. They have opportunity to win it all this year. This may just be one of those seasons to where the Lakers see what happens. If they can, go to the playoffs, win a round or two, that's a win for the Lakers. But, the Mavs, they got to win it all. You got a 33-year-old Kyrie, 35-year-old Clay, 31-year-old AD. This is where you got to win. You can't be like, okay, in 3 or 4 years, we'll see what happens. Every year, the Mavs should be in contention to win it all as long as everyone's healthy. So we'll see what happens moving forward as far as LA and the Mavericks, and I'll keep y'all updated on other NBA trades.